Hi guys. So here we go. If you liked the video, please do all the lovely stuff. Subscribe, like the video, give me a comment. Join the Discord. The Discord's free, by the way. And I get people saying this to me all the time. I didn't join the Discord because I thought you needed to be a member of the channel. No, it's all free. Just come into the Discord and talk to us. It's right there. The link's right down below. Just come and talk to us in the Discord and say hello. Really good supportive community in there, and I love every single one of them, so get yourself on there. It's really, really cool. So, today we're going to be going over a story that I've been asked to expand upon because I mentioned it a few weeks ago, and I've not really come back to it since. And I have mentioned on the Discord that, this story has happened to me twice, because I'm very forgetful and stupid. And normally, if you give me any sort of responsibility, I will F up like this at some stage going forwards. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, this is about the time I locked myself in Games Workshop overnight. The first time that I actually mentioned, actually got away with it. I was able to get in and get out. That was in the hobby store. I think, the hobby store that I was working in. This time was in Games Workshop, so this is an actual. So I wasn't really worried about getting sacked from the hobby store when I locked myself in. But I was very worried about getting sacked from the Games Workshop because our manager was... Okay, so you got different kinds of managers in retail, right? You got managers who will accept normal mistakes and accept things and will find the humour in them, right? As long as they don't ruin his business. This wasn't going to ruin this guy's business, okay? Me being in the store all night, I could have slept there, do you know what I mean? And it would have been like, oh my god, what are you doing sleeping here? But you still would have laughed about it and been a bit like, okay, yeah, fair enough, whatever. Mistakes happen. This is the kind of guy who definitely would warn you, give you a written warning, or just sack you because he thinks you're up to no good. He's not a trusting guy. He's a guy who's very, very, very out there in the fact that he thinks everybody's out there to screw him. In fact, it's what I think makes a really bad boss. If a boss thinks that you're all lazy meanderers and you don't want to do any work, they're going to look at any single thing you do with the utmost suspicion. Especially if you want time off or you want to go home a bit early one day. This is the same manager who, when I wanted to go, I needed to travel back to Liverpool from where I was living in the Midlands. This was on Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve is a big, really busy day. But I knew that by 7 o'clock, our day was basically over and we were just cleaning up the store. And so I said, look, do you mind if I leave at 7? You cannot pay me for the last 2 hours of my shift, that's fine. But I need to get this train or I'm not getting home for Christmas. That's just it. I'm not getting home for Christmas, that's it. And I had to bargain and chip away and finally, on the day, because I'd already booked my ticket, because I was just going to walk out, because I was like, I'm not having this. Like, this is ridiculous, I'd rather not work here than not spend time with my family over Christmas. It's a big thing for me. And in the end, he said, oh, you can leave, and I'm going to be very nice and let you leave, and this and that and the other. And I was just thinking to myself, dude, I've broken my back for you in this job. This is the least you could fucking do. But below the least of what you could do for Christmas. I've got no bonus. I've got no, really cool shit, or I haven't got to do anything. I've literally worked my ass off to get you the best results I can over Christmas. The least you can do is give me 2 hours, for fuck's sake. So this is the kind of guy we're dealing with, and this is why when I locked myself in this store, I was very, very, very nervous. So, long story short, my girlfriend at the time lived in America. And once every couple of weeks, we would go online, we'd get drunk together. We'd go on webcam and we'd just get drunk and talk shit. And talk about movies and games, and we play Borderlands drunk, and it was very, very funny. Anyway, we did stream it as well. There is actually a YouTube channel out there, which if anyone asks, I will put it in the comments. If you ask in the comments, I'll give you the name of it. But I'm quite ashamed of it. It's really old, and I wasn't a very good content creator at the time. But it was about me and my missus at the time just fucking around playing games whilst we were drunk. So, yes. So this happens on a Saturday night, and I'm off on the Sunday, because Sunday's normally it's a beginner's day, so it's quite quiet. So I'm off on the Sunday, Monday, I think I'm off the next week, anyway. And I tell a lie, I'm in early on the Sunday, but I'm off the rest of the week. So for me, it's like whatever. I can get a bit drunk. It's fine. So after my shift, my co-worker says to me, "Hey, do you fancy going for a pint after work?" We finish work on a Friday night, and then we went out for a little bit of a drink, and then on the Saturday night he said, "Hey, it's your streaming night tonight, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it is," because our manager was off. And he says, "Right, let's go for a pint then, so we can get you lubed up before you go and get pissed when you go home." And I was like, "Ah, yeah, okay, fine." So after our shift on the Saturday night, we lock up, and we go out and we do our thing, and we have a few beers, and after a while, and this is another thing that happens to you if you're a Games Workshop employee, try not to go out wearing your office colours, because we did that night. And what tends to happen is people will recognise you, and people want to talk to you about the hobby, which is not a terrible thing in itself. But it's not really something you want to do when you're, just trying to have a few beers with a few friends. You don't want to be entertaining questions about... The worst thing is when you go out and you get things like, "Oh, when's the new codex of this coming out?" Or "When's this happening?" Or "When's it happening?" "When are you going to do this?" Or "When are you going to do that?" And "Why the price is so this?" "Why the price is so that?" There's nothing worse. You're just there trying to have a beer. The amount of times I've nearly lost it, and I've sarcastically said to somebody when I shouldn't have, "Hey, why don't I just call head office right now? Because I'm sure they'll be really eager to act on the opinion of some pisshead in a bar somewhere, and me, some manager from this low-life store, just calling them up saying, the prices are too high. You need to lower them because Steve in the Dog and Duck is really pissed off." No, it's not going to... just leave me alone, right? So that was happening, and we were treating it as like, it's fine, whatever, people come up to us and say hello, and to be fair, you get good with that as well. People do buy you drinks, which is great. It's phenomenal stuff. It does happen. And to be honest with you, we're having a few drinks, and I say we're about 6 pints in, which is, for gentlemen, it is some gentlemen it's a lot, but for me it's an okay. I'm now, shall we say, tipsy, right? So I bid my farewells, I go home, I sit down, and I'm sitting there with my missus online, playing, and I'm drinking, and I can't shake the feeling. And I swear, it's because you're drunk. It's because you're drunk. Don't think this. But I'm sitting there playing this game, and I want to enjoy my time playing this game. I think we're playing Borderlands 2. I wanted to enjoy it, but I was something in the back of my mind, and I just thought, because it's my shift that day, I was the acting manager, and I thought, did we lock the store? And that thought just came into my head, and it wouldn't leave. In the end, I had to say, "Look, darling, look, I'm going to have to leave for an hour or two." We were a few hours in at this point, we're going to call it, but I was like, "No, I'm going to have to leave for an hour or two. I need to go and check that the store's locked, because I think it is. In fact, I know it is, but I want to be able to sleep tonight, so bollocks to it, I'm going to go, and, I'm in there in the morning, and if I'm there in the morning, it's going to be really shitty, right? It's going to be like quite bad. So, if it was unlocked. So I left, and in the dead of night, I walked back to Games Workshop. It wouldn't take me very long, about 10-15 minutes walk. And I got to the store, and lo and behold, the door's open. Right? So, I don't know how it happened. I don't know what was going on. It just completely went out of our minds. The door was open. So I opened the door, closed it again, locked the door, went over. It's pitch black in there. I walk over, and I'm staggering over at this point because I'm trying not to bump into the intro table. I'm trying not to bump into any of the stock on the shelves. And by the way, Games Workshop have these shelves, and in the older stores, they're metal cladding, on the shelves, and they're really sharp. And the amount of times I cut myself that night just bumping into things and trying to get to the back of the store so I could check if the stock door was open, because we have a door at the back of the store which leads to a corridor which goes to the stock room, which has all of the extra models in it. So that door is also open, and I'm thinking, what have we done? What have we done? How are we this bad? So I open that door, I lock it behind me, and I stagger up the stairs to where the stock room is. It's locked. I'm like, oh great, so we locked 1 out of 3. Brilliant. Okay, what a bunch of dickheads. I go back downstairs, I make sure that all of the cash is put away properly, and all of our banking is done and all that. So I waddle back upstairs, lock everything up, waddle back upstairs, go to the stock room, and I'm thinking, Christ, I really need a piss. I really, really, really need a piss. So I open the stockroom door, go inside, I just, go and have a wee. And I get out, and I sit down, and I just start texting the missus, right? I just start texting away, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, I'm so knackered, I'm so, stressed, that I'm just going to sit here for a minute, take my breath, and then I'll head home. It's like 4 a.m. at this point. Anyway, I wake up, and it is about 8 o'clock in the morning, and my manager is due in the next half an hour. The sun is coming through the window. I'm sitting there just, and I'm just waking up, and I realise I'm not in my Games. I'm not in my, I'm in my Games Workshop t-shirt, but I don't have my jumper. I've got my pants on. I've taken my shoes off, and I'm just like, so I put my shoes back on, and I stagger to the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, wash my mouth out, blah, blah. And I walk back into the room, and it stinks of booze. Oh my, the stockroom stinks of booze, dude. I mean, bad. So I'm shitting myself at this point. My manager's gonna come in and be like, what have you done, right? It smells. And I know he's gonna notice. So I open the back window, and I just start wafting the smell out. I'm getting codexes and things, and I'm wafting towards the window frantically, just trying to get the smell away. And I realise it's still on me. So I go downstairs. And I open things up, and I think, you know what? If I switch all the lights on, I can tell him I just came in early, and I can get some kudos out of this. This is gonna be really cool. So I run downstairs, and I unlock everything, and I lock stuff up behind me, obviously, and I stagger to another Boots, which is in the shopping precinct, and I'm like, can I have some toothpaste, a toothbrush, and some aerosol, please? I don't care what aerosol is. And they give it to me. Pay for it, run back to the store, and I immediately go upstairs to spray myself, spray the room, spray everything. I go in, I brush my teeth, and I get everything done, and I put everything in a bag, and I put it I say it's just my shopping, and I put it to the side, and I'm ready. I set up the store, and I'm still drunk. I can still definitely feel, because at this point I've had about 13, 14 beers, so I'm definitely drunk and a little bit ill, and I'm setting things up. And eventually, everything's done. The banking's done. The float's in the till. Everything's set up. The lights are on. I go back upstairs and I sit down. And I'm just... Oof. I go and have some breakfast. I bring it back. I start eating. And the manager comes in. And he says, oh, what are you doing here? What's going on? I'm like, oh, well, I couldn't really sleep, so... I figured I'd come in and get started, I know it's our training day. So I figured I'd come in and get started so we can get some training done, we can get some training done. I fell on the sword, And he was like, oh, that's really cool. Okay, fair enough. Let me get sorted out, now we can get some training done. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So he walks and he gets sorted. And I'm thinking, training's normally 45 minutes. And that's long enough. This guy is excruciating the way he trains people. And that's long enough. I've got 2 hours till the store opens. I'm in deep shit here. He comes down, he sits down, and it fills me with dread. He gets the whiteboard out. And I'm thinking, no. He says, right, so, have you brought the book? And I looked at him and said, what? Have you brought the book? The book that I asked you to bring, where we were going to go over what a scene in the book, and we were gonna go over how it can help you tell good stories on the tabletop table. So on the tabletop, as an intro game. No, and I said, but I figured we could use one from a codex because I've got fantasy stuff at home, but I really want to relate it to what we've got in the store. And he nodded and said, fair enough. I knew he thought I was bullshitting because I'd forgotten. But anyway, I went and got a codex, came back upstairs, and we did the most excruciating 2-hour lesson, quote unquote, There's nothing more painful than a non-teacher giving a lesson. There really is. Like somebody who isn't trained giving a lesson. In the end, I say to him, look, I need to go to the toilet and I'll be right back. Okay, fair enough, because I can feel my gorge rising. Do you know that feeling that you get when you have your mouth starts watering? Yeah, that started. So I was like, I'm going to throw up on this guy. I'm going to throw up on this guy. I shouldn't have eaten that Subway. I'm going to throw up on this guy. So I stood up, staggered, tried to mask my stagger towards the bathroom, got in, sat down, and put the toilet seat up and just stood there, just going. And switched the tap on, and I put my hands on my knees over the toilet, and I just started muttering, "Oh no, 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 not like this. Don't let me lose my job like this, please. Not after everything, please don't do." And in the end, the gorge went down again. I calmed myself down. I sat on the toilet seat and I thought, okay, right. Oh. And I went to lean back and realised the toilet seat, I hadn't put the outer toilet seat down, so I nearly went straight into the toilet, which was another terrible thing. So I stood up, put the toilet seat down. Oh. And weirdly, I don't know if this happens to anyone else, but if I'm drunk and I start getting hungover, then I start getting better. Sometimes I get, not every time, but sometimes I get a weird second wind where dopamine just starts flowing around my system for some reason, and I feel really good. Like I start getting lots of endorphins, and I feel really good for like a spurt. It's almost like that phenomenon of when people are dying of a terminal illness, and like they're really bad, but then the 2 weeks before they die, they're like they're fine again, because their body's having that one last surge that can get stuff done, and then they just die. Right? They just immediately die. That's similar to what happens during hangovers sometimes with me. So I'm now in endorphin mode. I'm going for it, and I have a decent day. But by the end of that day, man, I am flagging. By like 3 o'clock, I am flagging because I'm only there till 4:30, and then I'm finished. By 4:30, I go home and I sleep. That is the one time one of the 2 times I've been locked into a hobby store overnight because I'm an idiot. And, this is the kind of thing that idiots do when they're working and they're given any sort of responsibility. It is one of the only times where I've legitimately feared for my job at Games Workshop. And, yes, now I still don't know how I blagged it to this day. I still think he kind of suspected something, because I wasn't the kind of guy to just come in early. Like, when my shift started, that's when I walked through the door. Like, I'm not giving you a millisecond more of my time than I need to. And I loved my job. I hated him, and I hated the way he made me feel, and I hated the way he made all the staff there miserable, and all the customers there miserable, but I loved working in Games Workshop, and I loved working in that store. I loved talking to customers all the time. But I still wouldn't give you a second more of my time than was necessary. When I was a manager, that was forced upon me. I had to do that. But when I was a staff member, no. If my shift starts at 9, you want me there at 22:09 to get started for my shift. And that's in your contract too. We're not paying you for the extra 20 minutes, but we want you there at 20 minutes early. I would get there at 20 minutes early, but not a second before. Like, literally, it would go to 8:39. I would wait outside the store. Fuck this guy. I'd be on my phone outside the store, just chilling out. As soon as it's 8:40, okay, I'm in. I'm there. I'm at work, and I'm ready to go. Right. So yeah, I was not the kind of guy to just turn up a few hours early. So I assumed he, to this day, thinks, I wonder what happened there. Well, if you ever watch this video, that's what happened there. I was drunk, and he didn't catch me. So that is the time I got nearly fired from Games Workshop for staying overnight in the store. Have you ever had anything like that happen to you in a retail job or any job where you've had to stay overnight because you've done something really, really, really stupid? I didn't lock myself in this time, but I legitimately fell asleep, which is my own stupid ass fault. But anyway, that is my story, and I hope it never gets repeated by any of you when you're in a position of responsibility at your work. But that is my GW horror story for the day. We'll be going into a few more of yours in our next video. I can't wait. I've got some really, really good ones sent in to me. So, love you all long time, and I'll speak to you soon. See you later.